Hello and welcome to this episode of the Excalibur podcast, hosted by me, Kyle Brooks. Today we are going to be discussing a topic that is very dear and near to me. And it is the fact that a lot of people are accepting other people's opinions of them and making that their reality. I see this where a doctor will diagnose somebody with ADHD or autism and they will accept that and make that their reality. Or you look at everywhere littered around Facebook as well as Instagram and a whole host of social media platforms. There are many different neurodivergent posts out there stating that people that have certain traits assimilate or are neurodivergent or ADHD. While that is an interesting format or being able to accept that you have these certain traits, it does not mean that you have to accept that as your reality. I have experience in the fact that a lot of the things that I've gone through in my life have come through experience and making mistakes. And by those attributes and accepting that, it has allowed me to become more and more successful. And success in the terms of Earl Nightingale, when he said that success is the progressive realization of a worthy ideal. So if you look at what the propaganda is being spread out, it is utilized to divide people and to have them accept a reality that is not true to who they are. And by doing this, you give people excuses to display certain traits and to accept their current circumstances as they are, instead of looking to be able to go outside of their comfort zone and extend beyond where they are right now. My perspective on this is that, yes, you may have a formed issue in concentrating, but that does not mean that you can't accept that and then work on it. By implementing things like meditation and breath work, you can focus your mind and hone it so that your concentration span will slowly increase. It's exactly the same like anything else in this world, but to look at that as a crutch and to accept the fact that, yes, you have ADHD or ADD, attention deficit disorder. To me, this thing was never even around when I was coming up. You would be able to have to sit in a classroom until whatever time in 45 degrees weather. 45 degrees centigrade is very different from 45 degrees Fahrenheit over here. So it's probably in the hundreds or somewhere around there. And there's no air conditioning in the classroom in South Africa. So you're forced to pay attention. And if you fall asleep, there was corporal punishments. The teachers would come around and they would smack you. That said, our minds were honed to be able to focus on the task at hand. And anybody is capable of doing that. But to take a step back and to just accept that you have a disability is like saying Helen Keller would never have achieved anything in her life. There are people that are born with greater disadvantages than you and are achieving so much more. So why are you using an excuse and using it as a crutch to not get to where you want to in life? From my perspective, I have seen this happen myriads of times where people will listen to somebody that they really view in a high regard and they will accept that as their current truth. Just because something is true in a societal sense does not mean that it is the correct thing to do. And I can prove that from the book, Edward Benet's book, Propaganda. In that book, he shows you how people are able to manipulate physicians, doctors, and all these other types of people that should be held in high regard to get the results that they want out of the masses. So my rebuttal to that is question everything. Do your own research. There was this whole host of fighting against the fact that people were doing their own research during the COVID times and during COVID issues. But during that time, if you did not do your own research, you would have taken the jab. And by taking the jab right now, how much other things are going on and how much issues are being found out. You know that 400,000 people die every single day. And what happened to those people during COVID times? Did they just all of a sudden stop dying? No, they just reallocated those numbers to those particular people that were dying. And they said that it was COVID that was killing them. At the end of the day, if you don't question everything, then you will fall for anything, right? So my major issue with people is that they are so scared to be wrong and they identify with the knowledge that they have right now. So look at it from the perspective of, if you are wrong, that means that you've learned something. You get to understand what the holes are in your knowledge and build it up. But people will identify with that knowledge and they accept it as who they are, and then they get insulted when somebody questions them. How does that make any sense? The whole purpose of being a human is to continuously learn. And by continuously learning, you make yourself better and therefore everyone around you. But if you choose to stay stagnant, what happens to stagnant things in nature? You look at stagnant rivers or stagnant animals, they're usually dead. So by stagnating in mind and body, you're choosing to accept your death. So the biggest feedback or takeaway that I can say from this is that you should question whether or not the information that you are getting is true and what is the science that is behind it. Where's that data coming from? Don't just accept everything. And by focusing on what it is that is going to make a difference to your life, that will help you to move further on. So, what is it that makes people so attached to their opinion and identify with their opinion? You know, there's a massive rift between people that are vegan and people that are carnivores. And I've tried both of the actual diets. I prefer the carnivore diet. It doesn't mean that the vegan people are wrong. They're doing what is good for them and what is acceptable to them. It doesn't mean that they have the same attributes or the same strength or the same constitution as somebody that is eating meat on a regular basis. But as long as they're not harming anybody, allow them to have their opinion. Share data with them, share your thought process, and share how you believe that it has helped you. But there's no reason to downplay somebody else's opinion and to challenge them, not challenge them, but rather to derogatorily insult them. That's something that I've noticed as well, is that if somebody's not getting their way or somebody's not getting a point across in the correct way, they will insult the person that is challenging them. How does that attribute to growth? How does that contribute to anything further than just trying to insult somebody? Because you're attacking that person. And then on the other side of that, you have people that when they challenge them in a good, productive way, they're critiquing the knowledge that that person has. All of a sudden that person says, no, now you're attacking who I am. I actually saw this on a debate where a person was challenging a doctor that was on stage, and the doctor comes across and be like, why have you said this? You've screaming at me. You're challenging who I am as a person. But the doctor that doctor was talking about considering vaccines and how vaccines were tested for autism was not actually true. The basis behind his argument and the way that he was speaking left him open to interpretation and open to an attack. And that attack was a weakness in his knowledge. So by implementing that, by being challenged in that way, it allowed him to identify where he was weak. Instead of using that and being like, okay, well, yes, I accept the fact that I was wrong in that instance. I will go back and do some more research on this. He automatically took that as an indication that that person was actually attacking him. And if we are unable to divorce who we are from our opinion, then we are always going to feel that way, and the entire situation that we're currently in is never going to get any better. So from my perspective, if we focus on identifying knowledge and divorcing our emotion from that knowledge, and rather looking for gaps in our knowledge and questioning everything, us as a society, we will become better. And by focusing on the outcome that we would like to have, instead of trying to prove that we are right, this gives us the capability to progress even further. Socrates said it best. He said that you cannot truly know a topic until you have debated it. And I would love to leave you guys with that. You guys know where to find us. You can find us on Instagram. That's Excalibur Coaching on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, as well as Spotify, which you're probably listening to right now. I hope that you guys have a great day.